know why, but lately it's like ever since I said I'm taking a break, I just keep having so many things that I just want to share with you. Or it just keeps happening that there's something new that just pops up, and I just want to come here online and um, just start talking to you about these things. Okay, and of course, we are still on the topic of illegal immigration here in South Africa. And of course, it's not just a South African problem, it's a worldwide problem. So, yeah, we're going to just wait for about a few minutes, 3 minutes or so, see who's going to join us and see how we're going to go about doing this. So today we're basically going to really just be touching base, catching up on what has been happening in the news, both locally and internationally. Um, and we're going to be looking at it from this context of this. I'm going to call it migration invasion. That's really what I'm going to call it. Migration invasion. So it's an invasion in the form of migration. So, or should I say invasion migration? I don't know, but one of the two. But it's an invasion, right? And but it's not coming in the form of an outright war against a particular country, but it's rather coming in the form of something that on the surface looks benign. It looks like, people are now using this word economic migration. People are basically looking for opportunity. This is what it looks like. It looks like we're dealing with a situation where people are just looking for opportunities and, looking for greener pastures, and thus moving to um, the various countries where those opportunities are more readily available to them than their original countries. And some of the people that are doing this migration are people that seem to be coming from countries that are really doing terrible, and so they seem to be really just wanting to basically um, free themselves from whatever suffering, whatever challenges they may be dealing with as a result of whatever challenges that their countries are faced with. All right. So people will call it economic migration, or yeah, I think it's something along those lines, economic migration. But really, even though it looks benign, it looks innocent on the surface, unfortunately, there are nefarious forces that are definitely intended on using this thing for terrible, terrible reasons. And unfortunately, the people that pay a big, big price when it comes to this issue of this migration invasion, which poses itself as economic migration or whatever it is that you want to call it, the people that pay a big price in these situations are really the citizens of the countries that are affected. So, you, as a citizen of any particular country where immigrants are just flooding in, you are the one that is actually being exposed. You are the one that is the pawn in the game. You are the one that is actually being attacked. You understand? Because you are at the forefront of all, you are the most exposed, you are the most vulnerable one. Whereas your leaders, the government, and everyone else, these are people that, of course, live in, very secure estates, very secure houses, and everything. So they don't have to deal with what you have to deal with on the ground. Okay. So, and they don't understand the level of threat, but let's just face it, frankly, they couldn't care. They couldn't care less. They couldn't be bothered about what happens to you on the ground because, that's just how they are. We are dealing with people that are highly very psychopathic, very sociopathic, very toxic, very cold and callous. Many of them have been bought and sold. Many of them, their allegiance is to something else. So therefore, it's very difficult to really appeal to the humanity in these people because it does not exist anymore. Okay, so I've got about 8 points here that we're going to be looking at. We're just basically going to be touching on the various things that have been happening over the past few days, where news are concerned, but things that, of course, have to do with this migration crisis, as I previously mentioned. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is, why this migration invasion is such a serious problem. And there are many reasons. There are many, like there are countless reasons. And I understand that if you're on the other side of this situation, if you are a migrant yourself and you are looking for opportunities, especially, um, if you are in a country like South Africa, and you see how that South Africa is actually rife with opportunities, and there are, I mean, you're coming from Malawi, Mozambique, or Congo, or some other country that is really going through a lot, going through the most, and you come here. I understand when you get here and you see what's available here and you see what you can even get away with in this country, majority of the time, it would be like, but why would South Africans be so cruel? I come from such a horrible place. Why would they want me to get out? How can they be so evil? And all of that. You'll be looking at it from that perspective because, once again, you'll only be seeing things from your side. You understand? You'll be seeing things from how you are, seeing them from where you are coming from your perspective. You're not going to be seeing things from the side of South Africa. As I previously mentioned, the problem with many people is that whenever it is that they consider their problems, they fail to understand that other people whom they may deem to be slightly better off than them, they may find themselves in a situation where they're not able to understand that those very same people that seem to be slightly better off than them have their own problems as well. Every single human being in this world has problems. And as human beings, especially if you're just an ordinary person on the street, you have many problems. You understand? We have many. South Africa is a country ridden with many, many, many problems. But you, as a foreigner in this country, you will not understand. You will not understand because for you, as long as you are looking at all this infrastructure and all these opportunities that seem to be available to you and all these fleshy things that seem to be going very well in comparison to where you are coming from, you are looking at all of that and you are thinking all of this is fine. But what you might be failing to understand is the fact that, firstly, all these fleshy things and all these wonderful things and all these opportunities and everything, they are actually sponsored by citizens of this country. You understand? Tax-paying citizens of this country who are now having to carry the world on their shoulders. So the government of this country, when people disrespect us here in South Africa, foreign nationals, when they disrespect us as South Africans, saying you have no right to stand at the public clinics and prevent people from accessing public health care, what they fail to understand is that, and then they will be saying, we want police to be the ones that stop us. We want government to be the one that stops us, that tells us to go. We won't listen to you, citizens. But what they don't understand is that the government and the police, they are employees of us as the citizens. You understand? They are employed by us. It's us, the citizens, that are actually financing this country. It's not the government. The government is just employees. These are people who are administering resources that are coming from the public. So we as South Africans, we as citizens, we are suffering because not only are we having to sponsor the whole country, including our very own people who are not able to, pay their taxes, we are not only being, having to carry that load, but then at the same time, we are being used as pawns by our very own government, whom we have employed to serve us. We are used as pawns. We are placed in the most vulnerable positions that anyone can ever be in. And that's why I'm saying to any of you that might be here from any other part of the world, if you are dealing with this invasion crisis, this migration invasion crisis, do not accept it. Do not accept it. I don't know anyone in South Africa right now who has not been affected by this migration invasion. It affects every citizen, whether it's directly or indirectly, you will be affected by it. I've previously mentioned that I've lost a brother as a result of this problem. Okay, and there are many people who have lost loved ones as a result of this problem. So, why on earth would we be expected to keep quiet about it? Okay, so there are many, many terrible things that are happening in our country. over and above the immigration crisis. Okay. But the problem with this immigration crisis or this immigration invasion is that it makes it difficult for us to address the issues that really need to be confronted, that we need to confront a whole lot of issues here as a country, and not just as South Africa, any country that is dealing with this migration invasion. There are so many things that you would be needing to address as a country. So we are also needing to do that. But we are not able to do it because this migration thing is becoming a distraction. Because foreigners from various parts of the world, different groups of people with different agendas are here in our country, and they're pursuing their own agendas, advancing their own agendas, forging ahead, doing whatever it is. Next thing you know, you wake up, someone has, like, they've literally established whatever society, whatever organization, whatever party, whatever this, whatever that, they have established themselves. Meanwhile, we are busy trying to resolve certain things that have to do with certain issues that are very, very important for us as citizens. So now it's like we have to leave all of those things that we really need to address. For example, the quality of education in our country is something that we need to address. But we can't even address that because now we are constantly having to deal with this thing of immigration crisis. So we are constantly like, we cannot do anything. Because whilst you are busy trying to do anything else, there you go, 200 children have died because they've eaten poisoned food from the spaza shops. Before you try and, as you are busy trying to focus on something else, next thing you know, here's a story. Foreign nationals have adopted a whole lot of our teenagers here, teenage girls. They have, kidnapped them. They have lured them with, this promise of employment. And then they have taken them, they have, sexually assaulted them for days. I'm telling you, every single day, when I look at, this WhatsApp groups that we all are connected to, there's literally every single day, there's a child that is missing or that is reported to be missing. Every single day. When you're trying to focus on something else, next thing you know, here's a story. A whole lot of children have been dragged by foreign nationals. I mean, it just doesn't stop. It just does not end. And meanwhile, there's a whole lot of other issues because there are a whole lot of things that are wrong in our country. South Africa has not even had a chance to really process the impact that apartheid has had on us as a nation, both black and white. We've not had a chance to process any of that. We've not had a chance to really deal with the corruption in our government. We have not had a chance to deal with this problem of, this government looting. We have not had a chance to deal with poverty and inequality. And there's a whole lot of things. There are so many things that are so wrong in our country. So many things. The, infrastructure that is falling apart. There are so many things. And I mean, really, I'm just talking about surface level stuff. But I know for a fact that there are much, much more serious issues that we really need to address as a country, but we are not able to address it because how do you do anything? How do you collect any water with a bucket that has holes in it? And as long as we have no borders, as long as anyone can come and go as they wish in our country, as long as we have no law enforcement, as long as we have no proper functioning Department of Home Affairs, as long as we have no properly working government, and then we are dealing with this migration invasion, there's nothing good that is going to happen in our country. One of the agendas of some of foreign nationals that are coming here to South Africa, particularly the Zimbabwean ones, because they're the most loudest, so I'll keep mentioning them. They want our country to turn into their country. They'll be very happy. If you look at social media, if you look at what is being said in the social media streets, because when you're dealing with TikToks and things like that, it's very easy for people to just be honest because they're hiding themselves, many of them. They make their intentions themselves very, very clear, how they feel about us as South Africans and how they feel about our country. And I can tell you, there's no respect, none whatsoever. There is no respect for this country. In fact, there is envy, there is hatred, there is malice. People are ill-intended towards this country. even just the ordinary person that seems to just be here looking for whatever opportunity, their thoughts, their intentions towards South Africa, majority of them is, I wish this thing could just collapse and fall apart so that they can feel what it's like to be Zimbabwe, so that they can feel what it's like to be where we come from. Because for some funny reason, us saying, no, enough is enough, us saying that, or us refusing to say, but we cannot carry the whole world on our shoulders. For some funny reason, in their minds, that translates to how can they be so cruel to us? Because once again, they deem their needs to be more important than our ability to be able to carry them. So, meaning they could not care less if we as a country fall apart, as long as they still get to get what they want. So, right now, immigrants, foreign nationals, and I'm really sorry to put it this way. I'm really, really sorry to have to be this blunt, but they are operating as parasites right now. That's what's going on here. This is what we are dealing with. They are operating from a very parasitic state of being. They are really just taking from our country. Let's look at, there are people, Penwell, the Black Pen, or whoever it is, that keeps defending these people from time to time. And, sometimes he oscillates and things like that. But there was a time when he was trying to defend them and he was trying to talk about the fact that they pay tax, they pay VAT and whatever. And I'm thinking, who are you talking about here? Because majority of these people, especially who have businesses, do you understand that majority of the time, these people use only cash? Majority of the time, and those that don't use cash, they have ways in which they, move their money, move their funds, so that ultimately, whatever it is that they accumulate and generate from this country does not stay here. They are just taking, they are coming here, they are taking whatever it is that they're taking. And remember, their supply chain, they from the beginning all the way up until the end, they have their own things, they have their own sources. So they don't really deal with South Africans per se. They don't really do anything with South Africa. They're not really working with South Africa. The only time that they work with South Africa is when they make sure that they, guarantee their opportunities. For example, they know that they're not supposed to be even having those business to begin with. So when they interact with South Africa is when, they're interacting with the police for bribery and, corrupt officials for that reason, so that no one bothers them as they are doing whatever it is that they are doing. And also, when they interact with South Africans is when, they burn shops down, whenever it is that South Africans try and advance themselves business-wise. Then they begin to burn stores down. They will burn your business. They will sabotage you in whatever way possible. And they keep saying, there was a video that I was watching just a few days ago. And I don't know, sometimes, they get confusing whether it's an Ethiopian, Somalian, Pakistani. I don't know, but sometimes they look the same. So this gentleman was saying that South Africans, you are lazy. We are teaching you how to do business. And it's like, but what kind of business is this? Because you are running a mafia operation. That's what you are doing. This is a mafia operation because you have monopolized the business space. You have monopolized the small economy. This, what you call this informal economy in South Africa. You have monopolized it. Small business in South Africa. You are running the show. So what do you mean we are lazy? Because now South Africans are afraid to do their own businesses, even in their own communities, because there's always a threat that you will be sabotaged. They will either do it outright or they will do it in an underhanded way. But either way, they will do it. They will make sure that as a South African, you do not prosper. One of the things that we need to address is the fact that our government has not created the kind of space that is nurturing for South African businesses to thrive. Remember, South Africans previously came from, that position where we were really at best and garden boys. And then here and there we had some, nurses and police and teachers. But, majority of the time we're domestic workers, and there was still a whole lot that we still needed to develop, for ourselves as citizens to be able to be economically empowered, to be able to run businesses. And the government never created a space. When they started saying, oh no, there's all this, what do they call these things? Funds. business funding and everything. They wanted all these documents from you and all these things from you that you know nothing about. And guess what? They were not willing to put you through that process where they train you, they groom you, they prepare you. Whereas, let's face it, the white group here in South Africa, this is what they do. And a whole lot of others, even the Indian community, they do that when it comes to business. They understand that when you don't just hand a person, money and say, run a business, sort yourself out, or start demanding, business plans and a whole lot of feasibility studies and a whole lot of things from them and expect them to thrive. Throw them in the deep end and say, swim. But they understand the importance of mentoring and grooming and doing, all the necessary things, making sure that you are fully equipping the person to be able to do what it is that you are expecting them. Our government never did that. And they never even, and I'm not saying government people themselves, but there should have been some kind of programs that were meant to make sure that people are empowered and equipped like that, just like how China does it with their people. But our government failed to do that. These are some of the things that we need to address before we could wake up to see where is it that we are having cracks in our system here. Before we could wake up and notice that next thing you know, there are a whole lot of spaza shops that are now run by all these foreign nationals. And it's like we don't have a space anymore. We don't have a place anymore in our very own country. If you are struggling to hear me, please do let me know. Apparently, I need to say hi here. Okay. Hello, hi, John Simon. I don't know the rest of, I don't want to butcher the rest of your name there. But yeah, so this is a little bit frustrating. So yeah, it definitely needs to be addressed here that this invasion is a serious problem. There's nothing that we're going to do. People will say, oh, you're focusing on foreign nationals, you're not focusing on anything else. We are not going to do anything else. We are not going to be able to do anything. Do you understand the how big a problem in immigration invasion is? You cannot do anything as long as we have this kind of a problem. As I said to you, if you have a house that's leaking, there's no way that you will put proper furniture in it. There's no way that you will do anything constructive in it. If you have a bucket that is leaking, there is no way that you will be able to carry any water in it. Do you understand? There's no way that we can progress as a country as long as we are dealing with this. Okay. So let's look at number 2. Yeah, so one of the things that has happened, of course, just recently is this thing of, just listen to Southern Africa Refuge Forum. Huh? Southern Africa Refugee Forum. They've got refugee forums here in Southern Africa, in our country. Only in South Africa. Only in South Africa. You've got Southern Africa Refugee Forum. Okay? So these are foreign nationals in South Africa, bold and daring, okay, taking our whole health minister to court to say, why are you allowing Operation Dudula and March to stop people, foreign nationals, from accessing public health? Okay, so this is what we are dealing with. Okay, so these people are filing an emergency, whatever it is that you call it, and an emergency motion to the court and saying, you know what, we have a serious problem here. You need to do something, dear judge. You need to do something. This has to stop. Okay, because why on earth are citizens of South Africa stopping foreign nationals from accessing public health care? All right. So South Africans are not stopping foreign nationals from accessing health care. They are stopping foreign nationals from accessing public health care. Remember, once again, who is it that's paying for this public health care? Citizens, not foreign nationals, not the government, not anyone else. So the very same people that are sponsoring healthcare, and of course, what's his name? What's his name? I forgot this gentleman's. How can I forget his name? Oh, yeah. But he's a Zimbabwean foreign national, and he's here in South Africa, of course, and he's enjoying the best that South Africa has to offer. And he's an influencer on TikTok, I think, and Facebook and Instagram, I guess, or something along those lines. And, life is treating him very well in South Africa, because that's what happens when you're in South Africa. And he was, of course, making, quite incensing remarks about the fact that why would you stop people, chase people away from clinics, and, you're chasing away from, it's you're just fighting over pills. Pills, amaphilisi nje, amaphilisi. It's just pills, and they are free, and they are given by NGOs. They are free. No, they're not. And even those NGOs, they are only contributing a very, very small portion of what is actually being supplied. So it's still the citizens that are carrying that load, in fact. It's not the NGOs. The NGOs are literally contributing a very, very small portion of the medicine that is being provided, particularly the ARV medicines that is being provided in public health care. A very small portion. I think this is America, USAID, or something like that, that could be contributing towards that. But it's a very, very small amount. It's not enough. You understand? The citizens are still carrying the bulk of the load. But of course, this person thinks he knows everything, and he starts lashing out at South Africans for doing what they are doing. And he has no clue. He has no idea. All right. So South Africans are not stopping foreign nationals from accessing healthcare. They are just stopping them from accessing public healthcare. There is still private healthcare. And guess what? This is what the law says. The law says that foreign nationals should be using private healthcare, not public healthcare. So the fact that they have been using public healthcare this whole time, this is a favor that typically someone somewhere somehow decided to just let it slip and just let it be, allow it. Okay, no, it's fine. We'll help you. And then of course they all called each other. And I think whoever it is that started that whole thing did not anticipate that we would find ourselves in a situation where the whole of Africa is like, oh, it's all free in South Africa, so let's all go there. Let's all go give birth in South Africa. Let's all go and collect chronic medication in South Africa. You know what? Actually, let's all go start a business, by collecting chronic medication in South Africa and start selling it back home. And of course, start doing this medication trafficking, or whatever it is that you call it, where some of this medication, of course, is being used for, drug purposes, or to manufacture drugs and things like that. You understand? So no one anticipated that. But as soon as the people from whose pockets this money is coming started saying, nope, we are not having that, then we are having an outcry from foreign nationals. All right. So, but they are well within their rights. We, as South Africans, we are well within our rights to refuse this. Even the law of the country allows citizens to do that. Citizen policing, citizen arrest, they are allowed to do whenever it is that a citizen suspects that there is a crime that is being committed in the Republic of South Africa. The citizen has a right to arrest whoever it is that is being suspected of that. That is the law of this country. Okay. But now this Southern Africa Refugee Forum wants to take South Africans to court for doing what South Africans are, for protecting their own country, and also for fighting and having a say with regards to their own tax money. That's what they are trying to do here. And thank God the judge threw that whole case out. Thank God for that. Okay, because this is really ridiculous now. This is ridiculous. We cannot be having this. Okay, so, and another thing that I found quite peculiar about this whole situation is the fact that how on earth were these people able to afford lawyers? Because actually they're complaining, they're saying they don't have money, they can't afford private health care. That's why they keep posting, videos on social media saying that, oh, South Africa killed my sister because she was having this problem and she was sick, and then they kicked her out of hospital, and then, so meaning she didn't have money to go to private hospital. And of course South Africa killed sister, not the government where this person comes from. The government that is clearly refusing to take care of its own people to the point where they have to come to South Africa. No, not that government. No, South Africa killed them. They can't afford to go to private healthcare, right? But guess what? They can afford lawyers. Okay. They can afford very expensive lawyers, and they can afford to take South Africans to court. Okay. These are suffering people. These are people that are disenfranchised in life. Okay, but they can afford to take, so they are so disenfranchised that they are afraid to address or to oppose their own leaders in their own countries. But here in South Africa, they get to take our government to court. Okay. So this is the kind of things that we are dealing with. It's like, is this a nightmare or is this real? Like, what on earth is going on here? Like, sometimes it's like, yeah, no, wow. But I saw it unfolding nicely in America because I was watching the whole thing as it was unfolding, and I was busy watching Americans who also think they are clever, who were opposing this whole thing when people kept saying immigration is a problem, and they were saying, no, you hate people, no, you hate people, and I'm like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. You do not know what you are talking about. Only now it's starting to sink into the minds of many, Americans, that actually this immigration crisis, this immigration invasion is actually a thing. You understand? So we are now dealing with it here in South Africa. And of course, we've been dealing with it for a while, but it's like only now, even here in South Africa, are we all, beginning to become fully aware of the impact of this thing. And I find it quite surprising. It's like you are either being paid, if you are a South African, you are either being paid or you have some kind of a cricket relationship with some kind of a foreign national for you to miss this thing and for you to defend foreign nationals in this country. Because there's no way that you could be defending them and, and be a South African. Because here's the thing, you would have either been directly or indirectly impacted by this thing, and in a negative way. In a negative way. There's no way that you could be a South African and not be negatively impacted. Every single thing that is wrong in the country is because of this immigration invasion. And if our government is not going to do anything about it, and it's clear that our government is not doing anything about it, we as citizens have to do something about it. You can't be telling us, no, you have to tell the government to fix it and solve it and everything. How long have we, since 2016, people have been crying out about this thing. It's 2025. Almost 10 years. Nothing is being done. It's in fact getting worse. Okay. So the government is not doing anything about it. Citizens have to do something about it. We have to do something about it. If you're talking about crime, there's foreign nationals involved. If you're talking about crime, there's foreign nationals involved. It's drugs, it's hijacking of buildings, it's a whole lot of horrible things. Foreign nationals are always involved. So, for you, if you're a South African, and to say, no, leave the poor people alone, it's not all of them, and it's like, no, there's something wrong there. There's definitely something wrong. For you to be defending this whole thing, there's definitely, how can you look around and see the decaying state of our country and think all of that is okay? Do you understand that even if every single one of these foreign nationals were to be documented, that would still not be a good idea? Because our country has now been overpopulated. We are now having to fight for opportunities and resources and everything with millions and millions of people. They say 27 million. One of the the leaders of the country was saying that, I don't buy it. It's not 27 million. It is not 27 million. My estimate is that we are dealing with 60 million plus foreign nationals in this country. So foreign nationals are either the same amount as the citizens of this country or they are more. But there's no way that there's only 27 million of them. There's no way. These people are either the same amount as us, the citizens, or more than us. Okay? Because everywhere you go, everywhere, there is no part of South Africa that has not been infested. Okay? The country is no longer recognizable. I'm calling it an infestation, yes, because that's what it is. Because infestation takes place, things deteriorate. And, this is going to come across as a little bit funny. And, unfortunately, we end up having to find kind of corners. But one thing that we have to give to, white people, of course, we all have some kind of an issue with white people. And, it is what it is. But once again, foreigners, you will not dictate to us as South Africans how we deal with white people here in South Africa. Okay, so that's our own issue that we need to deal with. And we'll only be able to deal with it once you are out of our way. Okay, But one thing that we have to give to white people is this: when they begin to occupy spaces, they clean up very nicely. Okay. They like cleanliness, they like beauty, they like order. You understand? They like to be organized. Okay. And in the right way. Okay. They like proper functioning things, they like law and order. All right. Not every white people, I guess. Let's not, be very too general about it. But here in South Africa, the people that we deal with, the white people that we typically deal with here in South Africa, our white South Africans, that's pretty much how they operate. Not the DA, no, not the DA. Okay. But just generally white people. That's what they do. Okay. But let's face it, when it comes to other races and nationalities and groups of people and all of that, not so the case. Why? Look, we're not having millions and millions of white people flooding our country. No, invading our country. No, we're not having that. We're having millions and millions of non-white people invading our country. And look at what has happened to our country. They don't even care. They don't care that they are causing decay in our country. No, they don't care. Okay, so our country is no longer recognizable to us now. Okay, and the very same people that are destroying our country are taking our own government to court. Okay, and they are saying, no, you have no right to stop us from accessing public health care, which is your citizens that are funding. Okay, they can't stop us. They must just poke out the money, and then we must just get free stuff, and they must just keep quiet. All right, so this is demonic. And it's so interesting. These very same people, you should see in the comment section of social media streets, they'll be talking about God will judge you, South Africans. God will punish you, South Africans. God will come. God will, do horrible things to South Africa for what they are doing. That manipulation, that mindset, it's like we are dealing with people that are operating from a completely distorted, state of being. So we are wrong for just being frank about the fact that we cannot carry the whole world on our shoulders. We cannot. This country, there's no country in the world that can carry the whole world on its shoulders. Not even America itself started, withdrawing its foreign aid because they are saying, but we've got trillions and trillions of debts. We can't carry the whole world. And America is one of the most prosperous countries in the world. So if even America can do it, how much more for us as South Africa? We are a developing country. We are not there yet. We are still getting there. Our country is one of the poorest countries in the world, believe it or not. Or at least we have a serious poverty issue in our country. Number 3, we also saw the eviction of South Africans in Germiston, right? And I think they had this place called Faro or Paro or something like that in Germiston. And so we had a whole lot of South Africans there. And what I saw on social media is that apparently these citizens, they've been living there for quite a while. And what happened is that yeah, okay. Sorry, let me just respond to this person. He says, I think it's better if you do this on TikTok. I'm definitely gonna start doing that, actually. I'm really thinking of it. I'm gonna do it. I hope the quality is actually okay, because sometimes it does keep getting cut and things just keep going wrong. So I'm gonna try TikTok and see if it actually works out. So what I was saying is that so they're in Paro. These citizens have been living there for quite a while. It's a sort of like a nice little complex, apartment complex, and this is a government subsidized type of property where citizens were living there. And so the initial arrangement, I suppose, was that they were renting there, but then subsidized still by the government. And so these people, as time went on, things started becoming very difficult for them because, of course, the economy of this country has been on a steep decline over the past several years. And so people started not being able to pay for the rent. So they said, okay, basically they started struggling to pay the rent. And because they were struggling financially, they decided that they're going to start applying for RDP housing. Okay. And so that they can get free housing nearby. So RDP housing is free housing by the government. The government provides these houses, and they're not the best, let's face it, because the contractors and everything, they're always cutting corners and all of that. They're not really dignified per se, but at least you've got a place that you can call home, isn't it? So this is what the citizens were really doing there. They applied for this. And so when they got there, Department of Home Affairs, what they find out is that, no, actually, you already have an RDP house. That's what the Department of Home Affairs tells them. It says, no, you already have your own RDP house, so you can't get another one. And then they're asking, but what do you mean I have an RDP house? Then the department tells them, the place where you are staying, that's your RDP house. And then these people are like, but wait a minute, how can you say this is our house? This is my house, because I'm only a tenant there. The only contract that I have there is a lease agreement. So what are you talking about? Then the department says, no, according to our records, you have an RDP house, and that RDP house is listed as that very same property where you are staying. This is what has apparently transpired with these people. And so these people are thinking, oh my gosh, so we are now busy paying rent here. Meanwhile, this is actually our very own houses. This is our own RDP houses. And now we can't even pay anymore because we can't afford it. We don't have money anymore. So why on earth are we paying this rent? Meanwhile, we really need free housing. We really need those RDP houses, but we can't get the free houses, the RDP houses, because we are already listed here. What's going on? And they tried by all means to get as many answers as they could. They tried to find out what's going on. They tried to get help, and they tried to plead, with their local municipality and everyone to assist them with this problem, but no one was helping them. Okay, they were not getting any assistance, they were not getting any help, to a point where then the municipality, instead of really addressing their issues and resolving them, they started just trying to evict them. And apparently this eviction that took place here, just over I think it was last week, it was not the first time that they evicted them. They have been doing that for the past several months. I think they've just been harassing them, just trying to get rid of them. All right. So, and eventually they did. So, and that looked like a very humiliating eviction, because they literally kicked them out. They just broke into the place. They came, with the Red Ends. And the Red Ends are, a private security company that specializes in evictions. And they just came and took out their furniture, threw it out in the streets. Children, children's uniform, everything. Basically, they just threw it out in the street. They couldn't care less what happens to these people, where they're going to go with their furniture, what's going to happen to them. But here's the thing. The law of this country says, if you kick someone out of a house, you have to make sure that you create an alternative accommodation for them. There has to be an alternative accommodation. There has to be somewhere where they go. You can't just throw a person out in the street. And how do we know this? Because this is precisely what the police will be telling to people like Operation Dudula, or anyone that would be trying to evict foreign nationals, illegal foreign nationals, from hijacked buildings here in South Africa. All right. So we are dealing with those double standards. And this is a serious, serious problem, because now our South Africans, our citizens are homeless. Okay. They are homeless because our very own government has failed us in that regard. Someone has done something wrong. Someone has registered these people's names to have RDP houses. God knows where those RDP houses are. God knows who live in those RDP houses. But because of whatever mismanagement has taken place there, our own citizens have no place to stay. They are now out in the streets. But guess what? Not so illegal foreign nationals. No. They have erected shacks all over the place nicely for themselves. Anywhere they see that they could erect a shack for themselves, they've erected shacks. They live there nicely. They connect easy nyoka type of electricity. And then they have also hijacked many, many buildings. Many of them, they don't, some of them, they will go and they will start renting out back rooms in, townships and places. And then they will, be doing a little bit of research or investigation out what kind of situation is it that they are dealing with where their landlord is concerned. And if their landlord is vulnerable enough, let's say it's an elderly person, and for whatever reason they see it fit to undermine this person, then they stop paying rent. They stop paying rent, they start connecting their electricity illegally, and then that landlord is now stuck with them. We've seen this on social media. One of the ladies who was an illegal foreign national, literally, they had called Much and Much, to this tenant. They have literally called Much and Much to come and intervene to help them out with this illegal foreign nationals that were refusing to leave the property of this elderly couple. So they were renting out rooms in the yard of this elderly couple. And so they stopped paying. It's been a very, very long time since they last paid. And so they stopped paying rent, and then they had also connected their electricity illegally. So now this elderly couple is owing the municipality millions of rands in unpaid electricity, all because of these people who have now hijacked their property. They are now living there rent-free. They are refusing to go. They are threatening the elderly couple whenever it is that so that's why they ended up having to call upon this civic organization to come and intervene. And so now when this civic organization starts intervening and telling them, you are all living here, guess what one of the foreign national ladies did? She literally started going out to the elderly lady, the landlord, and pushing her around, shaking her around, and saying, how can you do this to us? How can you do this? Once again, playing the victim card, but at the same time intimidating the elderly lady. I'm so done with this. It's not even funny. If it were up to me, I would snap a finger and these people would be cleansed from this country. I'll be honest with you. If it were up to me, I would snap a finger. They will be gone in a split second. In a split second. I have never seen this level of disrespect. I have never ever seen it. Not from a foreign national, not from someone who claims to be struggling. Like, you are literally so fortunate that you have somewhere to run to away from where your country of origin. And yet this is the kind of attitude and audacity that you display in foreign soil. You would never dare do the same thing in your own country, but you are doing this. Our elderly citizens, these are the most vulnerable of them all in our country, in hospitals, in the townships, everywhere. They are the most vulnerable. Do you understand? They are the most vulnerable, the most exposed, and no one is protecting them. No one is defending them. And foreign nationals are busy taking properties away from these people. Do you understand? Both black and white. Foreign nationals are taking their homes away from them. And when civic organizations begin to try and evict these people, these illegal foreign nationals, from these properties, then South African police come running, preventing these evictions from taking place. But the minute South Africans stop paying rent, the minute South Africans start saying, we are retaliating now because we want our RDP houses, they get evicted, they get sent out into the streets. When you talk about God will deal with people, these are the kind of people that God needs to deal with. The people that God needs to deal with are the people that are allowing this. This is a crime against South Africans. Maybe some of us need to start this thing that says #South African Lives Matter, because everyone cares about everyone else here in South Africa except South Africans. When it comes to this story of next year, this civic movements, Operation Dudula, March and all of them, they'll be going to schools and making sure that South African children have spaces in those schools, and foreign nationals are not there. They can go to private schools or they can go back to their countries of origin. Then it's like, oh, you are so inhumane and everything. But wait a minute. Don't you understand here that if these people are occupying these places, that means our children, because this is what's happening at the moment as we speak, there are many South African children that do not have space in schools. Many South African children that end up having to stay at home, all because they don't have space or they have to travel very, very far because the spaces are occupied by illegal foreign nationals. South African lives matter. Everyone, it's so inhumane. How can you do that to children? But do you understand that you are wanting this country to prioritize your children over our own children? What do you mean? What do you mean? Help me understand. Like, make it make sense, because it doesn't. Number 4. So another thing that we saw as well is, Ethiopians intimidating metropolis. I know it's Ethiopians because I think it's Mzansiversity. Shout out to Mzansiversity on YouTube. So he was the one that was actually talking about it, saying Ethiopians were intimidating police. So that's how I was able to know that it's them, because I struggled to see the difference, because we are inundated with too many people. Like, for example, I honestly cannot tell the difference between a whole lot of other Africans. I can tell the difference between a Zimbabwean and a Nigerian, or a Zimbabwean and other African nationals. Okay, so I can tell, I can see, I can hear. Sometimes I don't know whether it's a Nigerian or any other African. I can't tell the difference. All right. But I know that, okay, fine, this is not a Zimbabwean. So it's either Nigerian or West African or some Central African type of a person. So that's how it is. I'm sure they can't tell the difference as well between Botswana and Basotho and, Bazul and all of those things. You understand? So it's not being racist or xenophobic or anything like that, or ignorant. No, I just don't know. Okay, so, but yeah, so these Ethiopians here were apparently intimidating South African police, Metro Police. Okay, how wonderful. Once again, only in South Africa, hey? Only in South Africa. Okay, so this, I think there was something that was having to do with the car, so I think there was something wrong with this Ethiopian national's car. Maybe it was, there was something wrong with it. There was some kind of illegality clearly there, that, or unlawfulness that was taking place. And so this Metro Police was trying to enforce law and order in that whole situation. And the Ethiopian was not having it. And unfortunately, because they never just travel alone, there was a whole lot of them. There were about maybe, 50 of them. There were a whole lot of them. There's always they're always in a group, in large groups. Okay. And they were busy intimidating the police. This Metro Police, I think there were only about 2 of them or 3 of them. But this is always the case. They're always in groups, and there's always some kind of an intimidation thing that seems to be going on, because these are men that are sort of like military type of men, military age, military type of physique as well. You understand? Because these are tall, slender, strong looking men. You understand? And, they are dealing with 1 or 2 South African Metro Police. So my problem there is, the way our government deals with the situation and the way our law enforcement deals with the situation, it's almost as if they have created an environment where foreign nationals, particularly this type of foreign nationals, they have little to no respect for them, because they always come across as, I don't know, there's nothing intimidating about our law enforcement, especially where foreign nationals are concerned. They don't look intimidating. They don't look authoritative. They don't look dignified. They don't even carry themselves that way. I mean, only a few days ago, there was a video making its round on social media as well. This is our local police, and they're eating cake with foreign nationals at a shop. I don't know if this is Pakistani or if this is Bangladeshi. I don't know, one of the two. Or it could be Ethiopian as well. But they were eating cake together. And it's like, what on earth? They're literally just enjoying cake casually. And this police, it's like this, the way they're carrying themselves, they could just be anyone from anywhere. Set them apart was the uniform. But the conduct didn't say police. The conduct just said, just some nobody, just some person. If I were to just put it bluntly, some no way. You understand that they could have even been the employees of these people. That's the energy that was coming across. There was nothing dignified about them. And yes, people will say, oh no, South African police are also human beings and everything. But you are on duty. Do you understand the weight that is supposed to go with the uniform? Do you understand that you are supposed to be representing a force that is definitely not to be messed with where this country is concerned? Do you understand how many lives you are carrying with you whenever it is that you are wearing that uniform? No, they have no idea. Because here they are, they're eating with these people, meaning basically that whole image there that was coming across was that this foreign nationals are sort of like doing this public humiliation ritual. That's how it looks like to me. It's like it's displaying to the whole wide world to say, look, or to us as South Africans at least, look, we've got your police in our pocket. You understand? We've got them wrapped around our little fingers. We've got them. They are captured. What are you doing in, especially with this kind of climate that we are dealing with in our country right now? All these crimes and atrocities that are being committed by foreign nationals in our country, you are busy having cake with them. Like, no, no. So these are the kind of things. So because of the fact that these people are used to just paying our police off, bribing them, just they know. It's almost as if when they look at our law enforcement, they literally just see hungry little dogs, hungry little puppies that all they need to do is just throw them dog more, eat some more, dog food, little itty bitty bribes here and there, and then that's enough. You understand? This is what is going on here. So they have no respect whatsoever. That's why one of these days we're going to see it. We've seen it last week where a Zimbabwean foreign national killed the police. But one of these days we're going to be seeing literally a foreign national busy slapping the hell out of our own police. We're going to be seeing that. One of these days we're going to see it. Because this is the climate, this is the environment that they've created. They have befriended, they have literally disgraced the uniform. And they have, as a result, disgraced us as a nation as well. Taking bribes, selling our country, selling us. Because that's what they are doing. They are saying, in exchange for exposing us to these people who God knows what their intentions towards us are, in exchange for that, they will just take money. Number 5, national dialogue. Okay, so we saw the commencement of it. We remember that horrid speech by the president. But before I don't know whether it was before or after he did the speech, but there was a time when he was falling asleep and it was really funny. It's like he can't even stay awake at his own national dialogue, right? Yeah, so that's why they say South Africa is a movie, because yeah, I mean, these things would have been very funny if it was really a movie, you understand? But unfortunately, it's our lives. When I look back and I literally every single thing that I can see that has gone wrong in my life, like literally about 80 to 90% of the things that have gone wrong in my life as a South African has to do with the fact that I've had bad government. Like literally, there are so many bad, poor decisions that this government has made that has exposed me as a South African to a whole lot of horrible things that I should have never been exposed to. And that had I not been exposed to those things, I would have been far better off. This would have been a very, very nice joke. Do you understand? This would have been very funny. It would have been a very great laugh if this was just a movie. But this is reality. This is people's lives. That's why I have very, very little respect to people, South Africans, that, start talking negatively about Operation Dudula, Zandile, Jacinta, much and all those things. It's like, you are a traitor. You are a traitor to your own people, a traitor in this country. Because there's no way that you can look at what is happening all over, this country and see that as okay. All right. So we People are very angry. People are very upset. Oh my gosh, people are really, really upset. Okay. That cracks me up. I'm laughing once again, but it's not funny. In Setswana they say "Losolo go luditsheho." That means, sometimes even, in the greatest of tragedies, we laugh them off. You understand? So people are very angry. This dialogue is not going the way the president and his people expected. All right, the ANC and the GNC, or what do they call it? The GNU. You know, I don't think this is how they expected it to go, because I think they expected people to operate within a particular framework and not be and not necessarily be inflamed or express um you know their their anger, their frustration towards the government. I think they expected people to literally express their gratitude towards the government. But what is there to be grateful for? Let's be honest. When it comes to this particular government of ours, what is there to be grateful for? Because you've done nothing but literally beat us upside the head for over 30 years. That's what you've done. You've dangled a whole lot of carrots in front of us, but you've never delivered. You have abused and misused and used us in every single way possible. You've done anything but deliver what it is that you had promised to deliver to us. If anything, the only relationship that we are having with you as our government is a narcissistic, very toxic relationship. Because all you ever do is just gaslight us, you love bomb us, you tell us everything that we want to hear for 5 minutes, and then next thing you've turned and switched, you've shown us your true colors again. And you are making it very, very clear to us that you are not on our side, you are not our friend. Because there's no way that you can be looking at our country and see what is happening to our people and tell us that we are being xenophobic. The first person to accuse us of xenophobia here in our country is our very own government. We are living in apartheid, but now the oppressor is the black man. Why is our country so poor? Why are our people poor? We are poor because the elite blacks are taking all the money. That's why we are poor. So people are angry, people are telling the president way to get off. I'm loving it, even though really it was absolutely unnecessary. We all know that this dialogue was totally unnecessary. And of course, also, there are a whole lot of topics that were not covered here. Okay, so we know that there are a whole lot of topics that need to be covered. How can you skip, the immigration issue? How can we keep the immigration issue out of the national dialogue when it is actually the most important issue that needs to be addressed? Do you understand that if this country does not address the immigration issue, and as urgently as possible, that there's no hope, there's no chance for South Africa? There's no hope whatsoever for this country. If this issue is not addressed, and urgently, because here's the thing, as this immigration issue is happening and as we are busy focusing on this, there are other things. It's like the immigration issue, as much as it's a big, big, big problem, but it's also still a Trojan horse. There's a whole lot of other things that are busy happening on the side that are wrong, that we are not even able to pay attention to because of this thing. Do you understand? Number 6. So we've got SAPS relationship with Pakistani, Somali, Ethiopian foreign nationals. So basically, this business people, this business foreigners, all right, there's this strange relationship that is now clearly, coming to light. I think we've always known about it, but now we can see how problematic it is, because, some people, even they're on TikTok, they will talk about the fact that, uh, there's this monthly fee that these business people actually pay to South African police for protection. So there's a protection fee that these people pay to, apparently, allegedly, these people pay to the SAPS. Basically, it's a bribe. Okay. And then as a result of paying those fees, then they're not being bothered. So basically, our own government is having this kind of relationships with criminals, because I'm sure it's not only with the SAPS, but it goes all the way up to God knows where, how far. You understand? But we are having that situation where these foreign nationals international business people who are not even supposed to be doing any business here in the country because they claim to be here seeking asylum. And it's like, whether they're seeking asylum or whatever it is that they're seeking, not even supposed to be doing business in this country. But unfortunately, they are. And unfortunately, someone is allowing them to do that. And how is that possible? Because they are paying fees. Okay, so this is why, foreign nationals will never respect our law enforcement. And because they'll never respect our law enforcement, as Mzansi Vesity said, they will never respect us as the citizens. You understand? So this is a serious problem. And I just cannot wait until this government has been removed, has been cleansed from our lives, and has been replaced by, a group of people that are patriots, that are passionate about law and order, that are passionate about true and real progress for humanity and for the citizens of this country. I cannot wait for that to happen. I cannot wait to see all these, corrupt, law enforcement officials, police, and just, those other top people as well. I cannot wait to see them off our streets. If there's anything that disgusts me is looking at a police officer on the street, and that police officer is literally like, they are conducting and carrying themselves as if they are just an ordinary person. The cap is looking sideways, the way they are dressed and just their whole demeanor. This looks like this is someone who is probably, selling sweets on the streets, as opposed to someone who's actually a law enforcement official. There is nothing as disgusting as that. There's nothing as disgraceful and distasteful as that. You want to be afraid of police officers. You want to be afraid. You want to have a certain level of respect towards these people. Okay. But no, unfortunately, our police officials do not command that. They do not command anything that has to do with respect. And I cannot wait to see them off our streets, people like that. Like, I cannot wait to see, to be able to look at, social media, to look at the streets, to look at, everywhere around this country, and see police officials and see law enforcement and be proud. I cannot wait for that to happen. I want to be proud of our law enforcement, but at the moment, I'm ashamed. I don't want to lie. Number 7. This is the second last point, and then we will be done. Now, I think, let me switch this one. So it was going to be another point, but yeah, I'm going to switch them. Burkina Faso. Okay, so this is just generally. Burkina Faso, we also heard that there was some kind of a threat that was taking place there. They discovered a fleet of trucks or something like that, carrying a whole lot of military style weapons. And basically, this was something that, of course, was it allegedly, it definitely looks like it was some kind of a mission that was meant to basically attack the country in some shape or form, or even attack the president of the country. And fortunate enough, they were able to pick it up. So basically, military style weapons were being smuggled into the country. All right. And fortunate enough, they were caught very quickly, and they were intercepted, and the whole thing was put to a halt. So people were, making guesses about who it is that they suspected to be involved in this situation, and they were saying, "Oh no, it's USA," and I'm like, USA, USA is not interested in Burkina Faso like that. Maybe the left side, maybe Obama, maybe people that are involved with Obama, or allegedly, they could do that. They did it to Muammar Gaddafi, so of course they could do it to Traore. I'm sure they don't like Traore, you understand, because they are globalists. But Trump is not a globalist, as far as I know. So Trump is not interested in trying to destroy Burkina Faso, you understand. um Trump is not the type of person that will do something that is underhanded like that. Trump, if he's going to attack you, he's going to tell you, "I'm going to attack you." And before he attacks you, he's going to warn you. He's going to tell you, "Don't do it. Stop doing this and this and that, or else I'm going to attack you." You understand? And then if you don't listen, then he will attack you. But he's not going to go and smuggle weapons into Burkina Faso and try. This is something that the left typically does. This is how the left operates. You understand? The left side of America, your Obama type of people. That's how they operate. All right. Okay. So, Unam, in whatever it is that you are, um, if you don't give a shit, you don't even have to be here. Okay, if you don't give a shit, you do not even have to be here. Okay, so this is only for people who do give a shit. All right. Nothing will change in Africa. That's your take. That's your take, and you are entitled to it. But once again, you are making, you are sharing these opinions with us. Who gives a shit about your opinion? Okay. So you are saying who gives a shit about what we are saying here, but who gives a shit about your opinion, about what you are saying? Okay. No one. No one. So you might as well keep your opinion to yourself. All right. So my suspicion is that the people that would have tried to do this would definitely be France, because France is the one that stands to lose from the success of Burkina Faso, because definitely France would want to, shame Burkina Faso for releasing itself from its clutches. You understand? So definitely France would be suspect number one in my mind. And of course, the people that would work with France in that regard would be the left side of America. Okay, so the only relationship that Trump would have with France would be sort of a somewhat diplomatic one, but he would not involve himself in anything that has to do with trying to. Trump does not want to oppress other countries, does not want to take hold or control other countries like that. You understand? He's not interested in that. He wants to focus on America, and he wants other countries to become independent. And perhaps from a business, trading perspective, and this whole thing of mineral resources and everything, there could be some issues and things that would need to be dealt with. But Trump is not like your typical globalist type of people. You understand? So Trump is not that person who's like, no, I'm trying to dominate Africa, take everything away from Africa, and all of that. That's not the game that Trump is playing. You understand? So, but yeah, Unam, you shouldn't be here. You need to log off here. You need to move away from this live. Okay, you need to move away from this live, because you and I are not going to have a proper conversation. You've already, put a wall between you and I when you started talking whatever it is that you were talking just now. When you started talking about shit, no one gives a shit. You literally put a wall between you and me. So definitely, we don't need to be having a conversation, you and I, about who did I vote for, who did I not vote for. Like you said, who gives a shit? Okay, so you are saying, oh, you want me to kick you out? Okay, so let's see. Let's see, how do we kick you out? Mm, so I'm busy. Okay, yeah. So, okay, so I just put him out. I just kicked him out because he asked me to do it. He was just going to, drain my energy, trying to waste my time. He wants to have an argument for no reason. And it's like, no, that's not what we are here to do. You are either going to be here and you're going to be civil, or you don't have to be here. You understand? But I'm not going to have back and forth with people about my perspective here. If you don't like whatever it is that I'm sharing here, you don't have to be here. You just move on to another channel, to another live, and life goes on. But we're not going to have that whole thing. We are already dealing with a whole lot of back and forth and resistance and a whole lot of opposition with everything that we are dealing with out here in the world. So the last thing we need is to be creating platforms like this and be dealing with people that are just trying to just be difficult for no reason. Okay. So anyway, so the point that I was trying to make here is that, so Trump is not interested in things like that. Trump understands very well, this game of you want to call it capitalism, of the economy and everything. He understands that. So And he likes to somewhat play fair and square. He doesn't like to, do all these strange things that people do, things that are very sneaky and very snaky and dodgy. He doesn't operate that way. He puts everything on the table. He will tell you, I'm coming for you. If he's coming for Iran, he's gonna come for Iran, and he will say it. He will make it clear that this is what I'm doing. You understand? So yeah, so France is the biggest suspect in my opinion. And then lastly, number 7, the terrorism threat. So now we're coming back to this whole thing of this migration crisis. Okay, and then we are concluding. So why is migration such a big problem? Because of the terrorism threat. So for us to allow ourselves to be wide open to the whole world like this, that means every single person that you can imagine in the world. Because let's face it, of all the countries that have open borders, South Africa is one of the best countries where any terrorist can come and hide themselves out. You understand? South Africa is a terrorist heaven right now. Okay, this is where terrorists feel most safest because they can even enjoy. I mean, I was just looking at a video where I think it was apparently Pakistani, allegedly Pakistani foreign nationals that were being delivered, transported by our own South African police in sort of like a convoy of sorts. You understand? And they were being transported there nicely, like treated like royalty, basically. You understand? It's sort of like a motorcade of sorts. You understand? So being moved from wherever it is that they were coming from to wherever it is that they were going safely by our own South African police. Because, all you need to do here in South Africa is have a lot of money. It doesn't matter where you get that money from. That money could be coming from drugs, from human trafficking. It could be coming from, committing all sorts of heinous crimes. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got a whole lot of money to pay to our officials, then you are good to go. All right. So our own South African police vehicles are being used to be, to transport people and to, create some nice motorcades or whatever it is that you want to call it for them. Okay. So this is what we are dealing with here in our country. So this is that kind of heaven that every terrorist needs. So I wouldn't be surprised if every terrorist in the world has a place in South Africa. They probably have some little mention. They probably have, a whole lot of operations that they have going on here in South Africa because who's looking? Who cares? And if anyone finds out, all they need is bribe money, and then that's enough for them to go away. You understand? Even if they get found out, there's no consequence. They can always get away with impunity, absolute impunity for criminals out here in this country. You understand? So, yeah, that's where we are. We are probably harboring the most dangerous of the most dangerous criminals in the world, terrorists and everyone. They are here in our country because it's nice, it's beautiful. You have a blend of the West and and the East. You have Africa here. You've got everything here in this country. We are both modern and traditional. We are everything. And we've got all the infrastructure. So you won't feel like you are in a desert when you are in South Africa. Do you understand? You're going to feel like you are in a Western country, but you get to enjoy everything that has to do with whoever. You can come here as a Muslim, you won't struggle. You won't have any problems because no one is going to make life difficult for you for being a Muslim. You can come here being whatever religion, whatever you are, you can come here and be yourself. No one is going to make life difficult for you in this country. You are free to be yourself here in this country. You are free to be as criminal as you want also in this country. You are free to be a terrorist in South Africa. Only in South Africa. You understand? So this is why this whole thing is a problem. Because anyone can come and go and no one is going to judge anyone, whether they are a terrorist or not. You understand? Because it's a free for all. So that's the problem, that we have a serious terrorism threat. That's why it's so easy for people to take our governments to court. It's so easy for people to try and apply for political parties in this country. It's so easy for people to literally be running our economy whilst we as the citizens of the country are sitting back and wondering what's going on here. You understand? So now, when it comes to the threat of terrorism, to understand this, that from South Africa, terrorists can launch themselves into various parts of the world. This is one of the reasons why Trump should actually really get involved in this. You understand? Or should I say America? But I'll say Trump because, Trump is the one that will understand these things. I don't think the left will get it. But he should definitely be involved because South Africa, as it stands, it's a threat to the world because of its openness. It becomes a threat to the rest of the world because from South Africa, anyone can literally set up any operation to attack any other country. You understand, in the world. So they can literally, serve. This country can serve as a very good hideout for criminal elements, for terrorist elements, and I'm sure this is already the case. I really, really do believe that because, let's face it, we've already discovered a whole lot of things that have been going on, camps, military camps, and a whole lot of things. So, yeah, South Africa has become a very, very dangerous place. And at any point in time, if any of these groups get upset with this country, they themselves can decide to destroy our own country. So we are not safe. At any point in time, any of these terrorist groups can decide, you know what, actually, we want to take over this country. We're tired of paying bribes. And you've seen videos about, from this Somalis and this, tuck shop people. They were saying, we are tired. We are tired of being harassed by the police. But they are so tired, they're not going back to their country. They are complaining. So one of these days, they're going to say, we are so tired of being harassed by South African police. We are going to take over this country. And who's going to do anything about it? Just any one of these people from the Middle East at any point in time can decide, today we are taking over this country. Who's going to stop them? Who's going to do that? And once a country has been taken over, couped or whatever it is, coup d'etat, once that happens in our country, we are done. Do you understand that there's no going back? Once that happens, we are done. For us to recover is going to take us a very, very long time. But that's where we are because our government has sold us out. We do not have a government. We do not have a government. I'm not sure what the Oppenheimers and the other people, what do they call them? It's the Oppenheimers and this other gentleman. Why do I forget him? You know him. You know this gentleman that used to own food chain stores and things like that. Yeah, I don't know why today I keep forgetting people's names. But yeah, there's that other Rupert, the Oppenheimers and the Ruperts. I'm not sure what exactly is it that they're doing, but I don't trust any of these people. I'm sure they themselves are up to no good in some shape or form. But yeah, I don't know. I can't trust that, whatever role that they're playing in this whole situation is enough to protect this country from being taken over. Okay. I don't know what I don't know. But yeah, this is not a good position to be in. So definitely we need to address this migration crisis as urgently as possible before one day we wake up and we have been taken over, and we have been taken over by forces that we do not, because it's clear the way that people are so upset about having to leave our country, the way people are so obsessed with this country, it's clear that, there's something here that they would not want to let go of. There's something about our country that they would not want to lose out on. All right. So, which means definitely they are not willing to let go of it. So they would be willing to fight. They might be willing to put up some kind of a fight. And perhaps right now they are being a little bit quiet because it's almost as if maybe they don't take us seriously when we say we want them gone. But what if, we get to a position whereby the threat of them having to leave is so real that they realize that they have to do something. And that one thing that they do is to take over our country. What are we going to do? What's going to happen if some Middle East group of people, of terrorists, decide to take over our country? this is not a light matter. This is not something for us to really take easy or to take lightly. We need to act as powerfully, as impactfully as possible. We really need to do that, because if we don't do something as soon as possible, I don't know, because as it is, yeah, we barely have a country anymore. We barely have a country. So yeah, by God's grace, we will overcome. By God's grace, all the necessary answers that need to come through will come through. All the solutions, all the right people, all the right role players, everything that needs to happen will happen by God's grace. Yeah, so that's that. Thank you so much for spending time with me on this transmission. Yeah, goodbye.